Hello, happy Friday, you, and you. Welcome to the Friday edition, everybody, of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is, of course, the safe space where we set oppression ablaze, and we know that something better can, will, and must arise from the ashes so we can get from up under this capitalist system, so we can be happy, so we can thrive and not just survive out here in this very, very cruel world. I'm so personally enthralled to see y'all's very specific smiling faces up in the place. What's up, Afraid Not? What's up, Franny French? What's up, Courtney the SOP? What's up, David Zilberg? What's going on? Jack Diesel, guys. Shaw has made an appearance. Hello. Tyler, what's going on? Jane is in the building. What's up, Sugar Booger? Of course, Shirley is up in here. What's up, Yuakata? How you feeling, baby? Anna Hart in the building. Did I already say Afraid Not? Y'all know I smoke weed. I be forgetting and shit. Dawn, hello, sweetheart. Jonathan Guerrero, hello. Did I eat an edible? No, Jonathan, but you know I am stony jabroni. It is Friday is shit out here. So naturally, me and the tree made some connections today. Y'all know how it is. See, look, I was feeling so, stony. I've decided to wear some tie-dye to be, my best black hippie self. Listen, guys, I'm so glad you all are here. We've got a great program for you today. We're going to talk about several things, going to give you an update about what's happening on the campus of Howard University here in Washington, D.C. Of course, we covered it earlier in the week where the HU students have taken over the Blackburn Auditorium there, hashtag Blackburn Takeover, protesting the conditions that they are being subjected to within campus housing there on Howard's Northwest D.C. campus. And obviously, the kids, as I affectionately refer to them as, because they are very much adults and they are out here handling adult business. And I respect that. And so do many other people across this country. But this is also, it's sort of a bigger fight than the Howard students because of the way that gentrification is pressuring Black people generally within DC, and especially in that corner of the city, Northwest especially. So we're going to get into some of that. After all, it is Howard Homecoming this weekend. So that's going to be an interesting little dynamic happening with the Howard alum coming back into town and the students who are there on campus taking a very, very, very righteous stand. We are also, pardon me, we're going to talk about y'all's boy, Joe Biden. Y'all know y'all voted for Joe goddamn Biden out this bitch. And y'all know who y'all are. I will not call y'all out by name. I'm not going to embarrass you in front of all your friends like that. But we all know who in here voted for Joe Biden and who did not vote for Joe Biden. But anyway, Joe Biden is in the midst of maybe one of the worst first 2 years of any first-term president in recent memory. I'm sure other people have shit the bed as quickly as Joe Biden has seemingly shit the bed. But Joe Biden's generational, is that what they were calling it? His generational infrastructure spending bill, the Build Back Better plan. Nigga. How's that going for you, Joey? It don't look too good from the nosebleed seats. That's where I be sitting with my binoculars. I'm like, that shit don't look good down there. No, it don't look good. Everything is on the chopping block. All Joe Biden's campaign promises on the chopping block. What's going to be left of Build Back Better? We'll get into that. But before we get started, I just want to remind everybody really quick, if you haven't done so already, please hit a like, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. If you have not already followed us places around the internet, please kindly follow us places around the internet at BIDWKB on Instagram and Facebook. We are on Twitter at BurnItDownKB. We are also on the TikTok at some variation of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. And if you want to support us, independent Black woman-led media, you can always do so. All the normal places. Cash App, $BIDWKB, Venmo at BIDWKB, PayPal.me/BIDWKB, or if you want to support us on an ongoing basis, you can do that also at Patreon.com/BIDWKB. We have 15% off annual memberships. If you get in on the $2 tier, $20.14 is all it'll cost you for 12 months of support for the Burn It Down with Kim Brown channel. That sounds like a deal to me. Or if you ballin' and above and you can drop 50 on the joint, listen, that's $5 a month tier. And if you sign up for an annual membership, that'll be $51 for the whole year. Like, that's all it costs to support us here at Burn It Down with Kim Brown. You know, we out here hustling. And Noli D, I see your $2, Noli D. I appreciate your $2, Noli D. Thank you very much for your $2. Because listen, y'all, we not too good for $2. We're just not. Because you know what? You put enough of them $2 donations together, you might have a little something. You know what I'm saying? You might get you a new microphone or 3 or something along those lines. So anyway, just wanted to remind everybody, support us in the free ways with likes and subscriptions, and you can support some material ways also. So anyway, where are we starting? Oh, yes. Whom would I be if I didn't talk about home, right? And we've had this conversation about Maryland before, have we not, gang? Maryland, not as progressive as advertised in Maryland. Black people, I suppose, do well in Maryland relative to perhaps Black people from other regions from around the country. Okay. But we still very much live under the shadow of crackerism in the state of Maryland. Believe it. We love our white friends and our white neighbors, but they are related to some white crackers, and the crackers is very much have a presence in the state of Maryland. Don't you forget it. I don't give a fuck how many Negroes you see living in Prince George's County, in Montgomery County, in Baltimore City. The crackers are not far away. We love our white neighbors and friends, but they related to some crackers. Anyway, we happen to have a cracker in the governor's mansion. His name is Larry Hogan. Now, Larry Hogan has been a 2-term Republican governor. Chances are Larry Hogan is going to run for president. Chances are Larry Hogan is going to present himself as the level-minded conservative contra to Donald Trump, right? Larry Hogan actually set himself apart from the conservative movement of the Trump years by criticizing Donald Trump lightly, but he wasn't out here kissing Trump's ass. That is for sure. Who just dropped this 5? Thank you, Renee. Thank you so much. Listen, appreciate it, sis. Thank you, Renee. We appreciate that so much. So Larry Hogan, in anticipation, obviously, of making a presidential run, of trying to seek the Republican to become the Republican nominee for president, just in case, the Trump base decided that they had drank too much of that Trump Red Bull or whatever the fuck the Trump supporters were drinking. And maybe they want a quote unquote sensible, compassionate conservative or whatever bullshit conservatives tell themselves to make themselves feel better about their racism, about their xenophobia, and about their general terrible positions on all things. But Larry Hogan very famously stood in front of one of those thin blue line Jones. I should have pulled that picture. What a dummy I is for not pulling that. But which we all know is a not so thinly veiled symbol of white supremacy, right? We've seen that. Talisha, thank you. Oh, you're catching us live. Thank you. Listen, Talisha, thank you so much. Thank you, darling. I appreciate your support. Hey, y'all see Talisha? I'm just saying, I know it's Friday. I know all of y'all didn't get paid, but maybe half of y'all got paid. Y'all see Talisha and y'all see Renee, y'all see Noli D. Now, you ain't got to jump as high as Talisha, but you got 5 on the Kim Brown program. Kim Brown would say thank you very much. I'm just saying. Anyway, where was I? Larry Hogan the cracker. That is correct. All right. So Larry Hogan, in true stunt queen fashion, right? Larry Hogan fashioned himself a stunt queen, right? Larry Hogan got up here this week and had a press conference where he completely renounced any suggestion of defunding the police. I'll let you hear his comments directly from him. But he also, in true Maryland governor fashion, Republican or Democrat, took time out of his schedule, found the time to take a jab, dare I say, shit on Baltimore City, where Larry Hogan's policies for his last 2 terms as governor have done very little to ameliorate the situations happening in Baltimore, which are very multi-layered. And if you hear bad news about Baltimore, honey, let me assure you, Baltimore has some help out here, okay? The shit that's happening in Baltimore has been exacerbated by the lack of leadership in the city itself and at the state level, a la Larry Hogan, and basically a la every piece of shit, cracker ass governor that this state has ever had going back 400 years, because Maryland is old out here. We've been out here. One of these original 13 colleges is nothing but crackers going back. Anyway, I want us to hear from the current cracker in charge. His name is Larry Hogan. And the reason I call him a cracker, y'all know why I call him a cracker. I don't call him a cracker because he's white. I call him a cracker because he's white and racist, okay? Period, point blank. We got plenty of white friends in here, and we love you all. But Larry Hogan is a fucking cracker. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, today, let's get that first Larry Hogan junk queued up, where Larry Hogan presents a solution to a problem that nobody was asking for, G. Like, I don't even think police departments around the state of Maryland was even asking for more money. But Larry Hogan said, you know what? I know the schools in Baltimore are literally crumbling around the children as they sit at their desks. But you know what? We're going to stand with our cops. Tunde, let's take a look at Maryland Governor Larry Hogan.
This is an especially challenging time for members of law enforcement in our state and in our nation. And sadly, the unconscionable actions of a few have been used to demean and question the character of all law enforcement officers and to fuel an all-out assault on the entire law enforcement community. Last year, when the defund the police movement started gaining momentum, I was one of the first leaders in America to speak out loudly against it and to completely reject the idea. Let me reiterate what I've been saying for more than a year. Trying to reduce crime by defunding police is dangerous, radical, far-left lunacy. Thinking that you can improve law enforcement by defunding the police is like saying that you want to improve education by defunding the schools. It's absurd and ridiculous. And I can tell you that the state of Maryland will not defund the police as long as I'm governor. Instead, we're going to refund the police. Today is the first in what will be a series of announcements regarding our initiatives to do just that. Beginning today, with the investment of an additional $150 million of increased support for our police and increased crime control and victim protection services all across the state. Our refund the police efforts include an additional $45 million, a 50% increase in state police aid to local jurisdictions statewide. With vacancies rising and recruitment waning, we will provide another $50 million to fund much needed salary increases and hiring bonuses to ensure competitive compensation for all our state police agencies. Our Refund the Police initiative also includes $24 million to create a new accountability resources fund, which will pay for more body cams, more de-escalation training, and other critical tools for state and local police agencies. An additional $1 million will go directly to the Maryland Chiefs and Sheriffs Associations to help them further expand operational training and support.
Courtney said, let me burn some sage. Girl! Get the devil out of here, girl. Oh, Larry Hogan just went in there just looking and smelling like bacon, didn't he? Just went in there, stood in front at the podium in that front of the microphone and just started oinking. Nigga, do you fucking understand all the crazy shit that needs to be funded in the state of Maryland right now? Like, Larry Hogan, let's just give y'all an example of how Larry Hogan, and again, and I know, and I repeat myself when I say this because it is noteworthy. Larry Hogan is not the first governor to shit on Baltimore. Okay, all the governors do. Republican, Democrat, it don't matter. And one of the things that Larry Hogan did to shit on Baltimore, there's been numerous things that Larry Hogan has done to shit on Baltimore, but one of the things that Larry Hogan has done to shit on Baltimore is that he turned down, I want to say $1 billion in federal funding for a red line that was going to traverse the city, I believe from west to east. It was like a light rail system, right? And it would traverse through the areas of Baltimore that are mostly black neighborhoods. If you've heard, they call it the black butterfly, right? Because Baltimore is like I don't know. It's shaped like Nevada. Baltimore is shaped like Nevada, right? And then like from north in the middle, like in the L, they call that the white L because that's where the white folks live and shit is nice, sir. And the police are there to protect the white folks' property and bougie black folks, right? But they on east and west of that, east and west of 83. It's the black butterfly, West Baltimore, East Baltimore. And this red line was going to go from West Baltimore over to East Baltimore. And Larry Hogan canceled that shit, turned it down, right? Public transportation in Baltimore absolutely fucking sucks. So for him to decline that transportation project with all them federal dollars was him directly shitting on black people. And for Larry Hogan to want to reallocate all this money to police, the only place in his speech where he directly referenced any specific place in the state was Baltimore City. And I'm gonna play that clip for y'all in a second. But there was a couple of things I wanted to touch on. First of all, you heard what he said at the very end, right? Or no, not the very end, not after he was running down all his numbers, not when he said he was going to allocate $24 million for police accountability in the form of fucking body cams, which we have seen and it has been proven and documented that the police will turn the body cams off when they about to do some fuck shit, okay? So your body cam money is a waste, sir. That would be money not well spent, in my opinion, because the cops are not required necessarily to rock with these body cams. So the body cams, to me, could be a tool, but they are not a reliable nor always a credible tool because they can be manipulated. Now, if we can get the body cams that the fucking cops can't turn off, then I'm with them shits. But I don't think they making them joints. Them joints have not been released for this year. Maybe that's the 2022 body cams coming out. I don't know. We're gonna work that out. But when Larry Hogan talked about, you know, if you want to fight crime, then you can't defund the police. That's like saying you want to pursue better education or public education and defunding public schools. First of all, nigga, you do defund public schools, specifically Baltimore City schools and schools where mostly black and brown people go, right? Fortunately and unfortunately at the same time, Maryland, the tax, it costs to live in Maryland, right? So property taxes in Prince George's County and Montgomery County, where a lot of black and brown people live, help to elevate the standard of the public school system in those places. Although the funding is absolutely disproportionate coming out of Annapolis. Let me just say that. But hold on, Tuna, if you could pop up, it is going to be 8-3. Now, seldom do I actually pick up the Amazon Post? I mean, Jeff Bezos' paper. I mean the Washington Post, right? Because okay, Washington Post, Jeff Bezos' Post, motherfucking Amazon Post ass niggas. Anyway, Washington Post actually came up with a piece of good reporting, to their credit. And let me credit the actual person who authored this her thing, Philip Burnt. Okay, Philip. Ill Phil came through with the good article. And data analytics when it comes to police spending and crime rates over the past 60 years. Over the past 60 years, more spending on police hasn't necessarily meant less crime. Now, Phil almost lost me in this fucking article, y'all, because like in the first, where did he say? Yes, that was to start the second paragraph. Phil says, intuitively, one might worry that reducing police spending would lead to a spike in crime. A review of spending on state and local police over the past 60 years, though, shows no correlation nationally between spending and crime rates. And then Phil goes on to detail how back in 1960, about $2 billion was spent by state and local governments on police. There were about let's round that up. The actual number is 1887, but let's just say 1,900 crimes per 100,000 Americans, including 161 violent crimes. By 1980, spending had increased to $14.6 billion and crime rates had soared to 5,950 crimes per 100,000 Americans and 597 violent crimes. Now, over the next 2 decades, those rates, meaning the crime rates, fell down to about 4,100 crimes per 100,000 Americans and 507 violent crimes. But spending spiked to more than $67 billion, nigga. Yo, 18 years later, by 2018, the most recent year for which full data is available, crime rates had fallen further to 2,580 crimes per 100,000 Americans, including 381 violent crimes. And the figures have not been adjusted for inflation. But if we make that adjustment, the pattern since 1960 looks like the chart below. Crime and spending increasing at similar pace until the early 1990s, when crime rates began to drop, but spending kept soaring. So, I encourage you guys to actually go read this. And this is actually a piece, I won't say that validates what people who have studied this kind of data have been saying for a while now, especially people in the abolition movement. But y'all, I suppose the jig is up, right? Like, if the data supports the fact that more spending on police does not necessarily equal reduction in crime, then I don't understand how much longer we can continue with this farce that police are integral to public safety, that police keep us safe, that police prevent crime, that police even solve fucking crimes, right? Relative to the amount of public resources that they fucking consume. I want us to listen to Larry Hogan one more time, and that's it. I'm not going to subject y'all to Governor Oink no more. But I don't like when politicians go out of their way to shit on mostly black places. The way that the city of Chicago has become a fucking national punching bag by all these fucking dipshit conservatives who just want to shit on the violence problem in Chicago without offering up any solutions besides increase police funding, get more cops on the street. Fuck you, dog. Fuck you. Fuck you and fuck you. But Larry Hogan and a lot of racist white people in the state of Maryland always look to Baltimore to shit on Baltimore. Baltimore got so much crime. Baltimore's so dangerous. Baltimore's got the heroin. Well, of course, y'all know Baltimore's got the fucking heroin because y'all the main ones coming to Baltimore for the heroin. But that's another situation. Baltimore's got the squeegee kids. Lord have mercy. These racists coming from the county who got to work in Baltimore City be bitching and crying about the squeegee kids. If you're not familiar with the squeegee kids, if you travel through downtown Baltimore, down by Camden Yards, down by the Inner Harbor, the squeegee kids will run up on your car during a red light and, clean your windshield, right? And regardless of whether or not you need your windshield cleaned, you understand that these children are out here hustling for a legitimate dollar, for a legitimate income out here. And if you know the story of some of these kids from Baltimore City, they need that money to survive. But the racists that come from the county, racist whites, by the way, let me say the whites, even though occasionally it is the blacks. Because don't y'all remember, sidebar, a black woman was murdered in Baltimore in proximity to Johns Hopkins University by a similar situation where the husband said that the woman was killed by somebody who approached the car asking for money, which is, again, it's not uncommon in Baltimore. But that was not the case, actually. And Oprah had got on her Twitter and talked shit like, oh my God, I used to live in Baltimore. That's fucking terrible. Turns out that's not actually what happened. The husband had actually set the wife up to be killed. And the person, allegedly, the phantom person who approached the vehicle looking for money was not a person. It never happened. It was a made up incident, right? But again, any opportunity to shit on Baltimore, people will run with that shit and then be real quiet when the actual truth comes out. So, again, Governor Oink giving his little 2 piddly cents about what's going on in Baltimore City. Meanwhile, he has not lifted a finger to help Baltimore since he has been governor. Tunde, let's take a look at that clip, please.
Violent crime is out of control in Baltimore City. They're on pace to surpass 300 homicides again this year. The Baltimore Police Department is short-staffed by more than 300 officers. The city of Baltimore is a poster child for the basic failure to stop lawlessness. There's a prosecutor who refuses to prosecute crime, and there's a revolving door of repeat offenders who are being let right back onto the streets to shoot people again and again.
So what's interesting about what Governor Hogan just said there, obviously, just decrying Baltimore as like the most dangerous, lawless place in the world, obscuring the fact, however, that Baltimore City Police have a $500 million budget. $500 million. Actually, it's more than that this year. Hold on. We're going to get to that. So Baltimore, last year, during the defund the police movement, did slightly, the city council did vote to cut $22 million from the Baltimore City Police budget. Did I tell y'all that the Baltimore City Police budget last year was $555 million? So a $22 million cut is what, everybody? Ain't shit, okay? Baltimore City Police Department did not lose no officers. They did not lose no overtime. They did not lose no training time, no equipment, no resources from $22 being cut from their budget last year. Okay. You know why? Because them motherfuckers probably waste every part of $100 million a year. So miss me with defund the police cut $22 million and all of a sudden Baltimore police were rendered incapable of doing their fucking jobs. Bullshit. Yeah, buddy. Tunde, hit me with that A4. One other thing that Larry Hogan mentioned in his comments, he talked about a state's attorney who refused to prosecute crimes. And he's talking about Marilyn Mosby, alleged progressive prosecutor. Those of you who watch MSNBC, y'all know Marilyn Mosby, MSNBC darling out here. We're gonna get to his comments about Marilyn Mosby, because Marilyn Mosby is out here on some bullshit. Also, as you all know, if you've been watching this program, the continued persecutions and repeated prosecutions of Keith Davis Jr. is Marilyn Mosby especial. That is her signature fuck up of how she's fucking up people over in Baltimore. But anyway, I'm gonna come back to that. So anyway, so as you see, No. I don't want to go there yet, Tunde. I'm sorry. Wasn't it the $555 million? Okay. Yeah. Baltimore officials passed budget with $555 million for police spending without amendments. Okay. So any minuscule temporary I'm gonna put it in quotation, defunding of the Baltimore City Police that happened last year, they erased that shit. They said, no, we're gonna write this right back in here. And by the way, Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott, who was a young black man who everybody thought was gonna be progressive after all these little corrupt want to be down with the DNC Baltimore mayors. Catherine Pugh is in jail right now. Stephanie Rawlings Blake, who was the mayor during the Baltimore uprisings, and Sheila Dixon, who was the mayor before Stephanie Rawlings Blake, who got convicted of stealing gift cards that were intended for the poor. I mean, it's been a mess. It's been a little bit messy, but Larry Hogan ain't helping. That's why Larry Hogan need to shut the fuck up. But like I said, so the whole notion of defund the police has already been erased in Baltimore, right? And we saw this happen already at the national level when Congress, accompanied by members of the squad, by the way, I believe allocated an exorbitant amount of money to U.S. Capitol Police and the Secret Service, obviously in the aftermath of January 6th. Everybody in Congress wanted to refund the fucking police, make sure that the U.S. Capitol Police had more than what they actually needed in order to protect the Capitol. And it's like, nigga, you can't protect the Capitol against motherfuckers that's opening the gates for the insurrectionists just to come on in, baby. Don't y'all remember some of that footage that we looked at? Don't y'all remember the insurrectionists were in the Senate chamber and the fucking U.S. Capitol Police walked up on them like, hey, buddy, excuse me, guys. Hey, can you guys just move it? You need more money for that. You shouldn't me. You shouldn't me. But anyway. So, in spite of some of the biggest mass mobilizations of people in this country, in cities, big and small, in rural places and urban places everywhere. Last year, people came out in the streets by the millions, literally. You make the cumulative total of all the days and weeks that people across the country stayed out in the streets, honey. Millions of people came out and said, you know what, we're tired of the shit. And defund the police was the main rallying cry that came out of that. And contrary to what funky ass Jim Clyburn got to say about it, it was a catchy slogan, no nigga. That's what we call policy demand. How about that? It can be condensed into 3 words. Y'all should try it, Democrats. Why don't y'all do something like that? Why don't you get clever? Get clever with y'all shit, Democrats. You might actually have a tad bit more success. But yes, so that was the demand coming out of the streets from 2020, and the response from our elected officials, Republican and Democrat. I mean, I know this is not a surprise to anybody, but the bipartisanship around fuck your couch. How they are dictating to the people that defunding the police is simply not an option, right? And all of them might as well be as exuberantly ridiculous as Larry Hogan has been about his shit. But even if our politicians or even our elected officials, or in this case, our prosecutors in the state of Maryland, specifically in Baltimore City, even if they themselves are not openly crying or calling for defunding the police, nor are they even speaking against defund the police. I'm speaking about Marilyn Mosby here. At least I don't believe that Marilyn Mosby has taken a position, to my knowledge, on defund the police. Let me hop back in here in the chat because y'all might know something that I don't. But you heard Larry Hogan take a jab at Marilyn Mosby, saying that she is refusing to prosecute crimes. Well, what Marilyn Mosby's office has done, at long last, has decided to stop going after low-level violations, right? Hopefully trying to eliminate prosecutions of broken windows type of offenses, right? So I believe that's what Larry Hogan is speaking of, because there is a Twitter account you guys should follow. It's Baltimore Court Watch. And if you follow that account, they go through a lot of the, I think it's bail court, right? So they're tracking the number of defendants who are coming in front of a judge trying to get released from jail. And as you will note when you follow that account, Marilyn Mosby is absolutely still out here prosecuting people, and he's prosecuting underage people. And during times of COVID, her office is overwhelmingly asking people be held without bond. Terrible. Just out the fucking worst. Anyway, here's what Marilyn Mosby did, y'all. So hold on. Before I get to, let me reset. Marilyn Mosby's office, again, she's a state's attorney for Baltimore City. Marilyn Mosby's office had knowledge of over 300, but the number's like right around 300. I want to say it's like 301. 301 officers whose credibility was in such tatters, whose testimony was found to be so unreliable that they were put on what the state's attorney's office called a do not call list. Meaning that you cannot call these niggas to come testify because these motherfuckers might lie. Or there's a very good chance that they could be having their testimony impeached somehow, some way, because they are of low moral fiber and character, correct? Now, she mentioned this in passing like years ago, right? And niggas was like, what? I'm sorry, you have a what? We need to see that, Marilyn. What's up with that list? Hold on. You telling us there's actual cops on the payroll out here who are getting whole ass pensions, who are the beneficiaries of some of this paid training and overtime and all this extra shit. So you're telling me there's actual police out here that you can't call to court and actually swear them in and have confidence that they will tell the truth under oath? How are these motherfuckers still getting paychecks? Make it make sense. Nigga, if you police and you can't go to court, nigga, you not really police, are you, right? Like, isn't that part of police's job? Don't police have to go to court and testify and shit? And she got a list of 300 cops. People, can you even imagine the amount of resources, the amount of payroll that 300 cops who cannot even testify are sucking up from the city? Can you imagine? It's so many. So anyway, this turned into like a legal fight, right? Like motherfuckers was like, Marilyn, what's up with that list? And Marilyn was like, I don't even know what list. Did I say something about list? Oh, no. You must have got me confused. Tunde, pop up that headline about Marilyn Mosby, please, about the Baltimore State's attorney. So, y'all, after some legal wrangling, and I believe specifically with the organization called BALT, I think their Twitter handle is at BALT Legal, BALTLEGAAL. Is that right? Is that how you spell legal? Mind you, I have hit the bone several times a day. Aren't y'all impressed with me? I'm over here freestyling, homie. Fuck with me. Here we go. Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby was wrong to not release her do not call list of trouble cops appeal court rules. Yes. So the so-called progressive state's attorney, progressive prosecutor, Marilyn Mosby fancies herself as, and is bestowed that moniker by liberal bullshit mainstream media, right? She's so fucking progressive that she was trying to cover for 300, let's call them dirty cops, crooked cops. If the police don't have the moral fiber or high character to credibly swear under oath and give credible, unperjured testimony, then the fuck? Why are you covering for these niggas, Merlin? Make it make sense. Is that progressive? Let's ask the show of hands. Is that what you would call a progressive prosecutor? Is that who you cover for? Is that who you take up for? Meanwhile, she ordering children who have been either not allowed back in school, whose housing situation is uncertain, people who have mental illnesses, people who are on medication, people who need to be home. She is ordering, her office that is ordering people held without bond all the fucking time. Like, ugh. And let me throw one more thing in here about Marilyn Mosby that I left out technically of the docket because it was just too much. It was a lot going on. So FYI, in other tea, Marilyn Mosby, by the way, her husband is the president of the Baltimore City Council. His name is Nick Mosby, right? So Baltimore State's attorney is married to the president of the Baltimore City Council. Where could foolery somehow find itself in that pairing? Now, opinions, personal or otherwise, Marilyn Mosby and Nick Mosby notwithstanding, it's just really not a good look from a conflict of interest perspective for these people to be allowed to share these offices at the same time. And consequently, they wield a lot of power in the city. And consequently, a lot of people are afraid of them, right? They are very formidable, a formidable pair. Well, they are also under federal investigation for alleged tax woohoos, right? I don't know if they claim that they ain't paid their taxes, if they had a link. It's some rich nigga shit that is over my head. I don't know what it has something to do with taxes, but they have not been indicted, right? But at the same time, they are straight mobbing around the city as if they are not under federal investigation. Like, they are just, going hard, living their best life. And we know that Joe Biden last night had his town hall in Baltimore. Also yesterday, Marilyn Mosby's counsel, a dude named A. Scott Bowden. Local people might know A. Scott Bowden. I think A. Scott Bowden may have made some national TV appearances. A. Scott Bowden is representing the Mosbys, guys. And one of the things that A. Scott Bowden said at this press conference yesterday, decrying the federal investigation into the Mosbys' tax dealings, A. Scott Bowden said that they don't make enough money. What did he say? He said like, I think something along the lines of like, they don't make enough money in order to be trying to perpetrate these tax frauds. And I'm like, someone posted what their respective salaries are, and no, both of them make north of around 150,000. One of them makes over 200,000, and the other one makes in the 100,000 range. So that puts them just south of a combined household income of 400,000. And by the way, y'all, these motherfuckers, the Mosbys, have the audacity to have a legal defense fund. They have a legal defense fund that they have actually been openly asking people to donate to this legal defense fund. Can you imagine niggas making $400,000 a year going to ask other people to send them money to defend them against tax accusations? Come on, man. I am not here to donate my coins for y'all little rich nigga problems, okay? If y'all was fucking up on y'all taxes, you need to handle that with the feds. Latif, thank you, darling. Latif said, very impressive. That's why we fucks with you, Kim. Thank you. Oh, right, because I'm doing all this high. That's right, Latif. Yes, recognize my skill set here, sir. We do this. We do this. So that was my little tidbit about the Mosbys, y'all. They are also, like I said, they're under federal investigation. They have the audacity to be asking people to send them money, donate money to their legal defense fund. And by the way, like I said, because they are such a formidable political entity in the city of Baltimore, a lot of people just bow down to them, right? So the Maryland NAACP nigga was up there with them at the press conference yesterday talking about, we gonna donate money to y'all legal defense fund. I'm like, oh my gosh. Do NAACP members know that perhaps their dues or donations are going to help the Mosbys defend themselves against tax improprieties? Come on. Right. Freddie French says, you know what Freddie French just said? Hold on, just get away from me. Freddie French says, well, you can't expect them to cut out the champagne, honey, and caviar money. Listen, and let me explain something to you, y'all, man. Y'all know the East Coast it can be pricey, especially this Mid-Atlantic on Northwood, right? DC is ridiculous to live in. But Baltimore has managed to somehow remain more affordable than DC. And let me assure you, $400,000 combined household income, and that's $400,000 of they on paper money, right? That's because they're public servants. We know what their salaries are. That's not their speaking engagement money. That's not I'm going to the college alumni reunion and speaking at the women's empowerment or whatever the fuck. That's not none of that money, right? So you know they got money. So miss me with the woe is fucking me rich nigga problems. You would not never going for that. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to drone on so much about Baltimore, but Baltimore is important to me, y'all. I was born in the city of Baltimore. I was not raised in Baltimore, but I will always have affection for Baltimore. My mother was born in Baltimore. My grandparents came to Baltimore from rural Virginia during the 1930s and 40s in search of better opportunities. So I will always have love and affection for Baltimore. And consequently, when Baltimore gets the fucking shaft, that shit makes me mad because I understand why it is. It's because it's a black city, and it's because the black people in this city are poor, and that makes them very vulnerable and very susceptible to politicians punching down and doing bullshit. So anyway, hey guys, do me a favor. I know, hello, 85. Hey, listen, that math is mathing. Hello, with our live viewers and the thumbs up. I appreciate that. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and smush subscribe for me. Por favor, and thank you. De nadas. Yes. Again, if you want to get in on the Patreon loveliness, you could do so. Patreon.com/BID with Patreon.com/BIDWKB. 15% off annual memberships. That'll cost you $20.14 for the $2 tier, $51 at the $5 tier. And if you balling like that, I know we got some ballers up in here. We take balling ass money too. We take little money and big money. Anything to help keep our program going and to help us expand. You know, we appreciate you guys being loyal here for every Tuesday and Friday at 5 p.m. But wouldn't it be nice to have 5 days of Burn It Down with Kim Brown? Wouldn't y'all like to shoot shit with me Monday through Friday? Well, we got to get to that point. And like I said, free support, thumbs up, and subscriptions, we will gladly and happily take it. Thank you all so much for rocking with one of the best. There's a lot of bests. There's a lot of bests out here. Let's see. On to the next thing, y'all. I'm going to try to make this brief, because it's really easy to kind of make this next thing brief, because your boy Joe Biden is out here floundering. Because I mean, this is some of the least impressive first 2 years of a presidency that has control over the Congress. Allegedly has control, though, right? How is it that every time the Democrats seem to get a majority in either chamber of Congress, or God forbid they actually hold a majority in both chambers of Congress, they be like, but we need more than 50 votes. How come y'all can't get us 60? It's like, nigga, y'all need to operate better. I don't know what to tell you. You keep yelling at black people, how come y'all don't come out? Nigga, we have been voting, but guess what? Ooh, 2022, that's finna change. That is finna change. But anyway, and it's gonna be made easier to finna change because your man's Joe Biden is out here screwing the pooch, man. And I am gonna blame Biden. I am not going to blame, I know I'm fucking with the mic today. I'm gonna stop in 2 seconds. As most of the talking heads, not only on YouTube, but on cable news, want to be screaming and pulling their hair out about Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, man, listen. We peeped here early in the game that Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema are doing exactly what somebody wants them to do. And it wouldn't even surprise me if it was the DNC and Joe Biden that wanted them to become these obstacles to his platform, to his policy proposals, to his campaign promises. In his town hall last night, which I did not watch, but I did read the recaps about. From what I understand, if I read this correctly, and maybe y'all can correct me, let me go back to the chat here if I have somehow have this mistaken. But Joe Biden said that Kyrsten Sinema's holdups in not supporting the certainly not the $3.5 trillion iteration of Build Back Better, but he said that Kyrsten Sinema wasn't going to support it because of the corporate tax hikes and the tax hikes on wealthy Americans. I said, oh, did the bitch knew she was saying that shit out loud? Like, did when she told you that, Joe? Or are you telling on Kyrsten Sinema? Because I don't think, well, shit, Kyrsten Sinema may not give a fuck, actually. I was going to say, maybe Kyrsten don't want Joe Biden out here broadcasting to the fact that she is blatantly holding up his agenda in order to mollify the 1% of Americans, right? So she is making very clear as to where her allegiances lie and where her priorities lie. And I'm sure she's getting, and I know it's been reported upon also, that she's getting a shit ton of money. Like she's getting donations out the ass by these big corporations and wealthy people who do not want their taxes raised because they don't think they should be able to pay anything in order to support the infrastructure and quality of life for the rest of us poors, right? Well, most of Joe Biden's, which I would say mostly were well-intentioned policy proposals in Build Back Better, are falling by the wayside. Tunde, could you pop up B1 for me, please? Remember Joe Biden during the debates last year? Joe Biden said that that free community college for everybody. He just bit Bernie shit, right? He just been fucking, he just bit Bernie shit, right? Free community college, corporate tax hikes are in peril as Democrats try to win votes for Biden's economic plan. And, you know, I'm going to shout out the squad. And tragically, I don't know specifically who I should be shouting out and whom I should be condemning. But if the progressive members of the Democratic caucus are refusing to go along with this shit, if all the shit that Joe Biden promised is out of the bill, good for them. And if Joe Biden fails to get anything passed in his signature bill, shame on him, right? First of all, Biden thought because he had been a pushover, basically, he had long capitulated to Senate Republicans during his time in the Senate. He thought that he could go in there and schmooze them niggas, right? Like, no, remember Mitch? Remember when we used to kick it? You know what I'm saying? We used to go to the strip club, whatever. And it's like, no, bro. Like, you don't understand how the Republicans run this game. Y'all don't understand how the Republicans play this game. The Republicans are playing to win. They don't give a fuck if Democrats is their friends. They don't give a fuck about reaching across the aisle. Republicans believe in maintaining power, accumulating power, holding on to power, and jamming their agenda down everybody else's throat the very first minute they reacquire power. And Democrats, they never, during my time of being politically conscious, the Democrats never play to win. They always play to lose. And this Build Back Better implosion is proof positive of that. Because you are going to have a very difficult time marshaling enthusiasm for any most Democrats in 2022. Shit. Let me tell y'all real quick. The Virginia gubernatorial race is happening right now, obviously. Here on Burn It Down with Kim Brown, we support Princess Blanding for Virginia governor from the Liberation Party. But the two main party candidates, the Republican and Democrat candidate, y'all, that shit is tied up 46% to 46% according to the last polls. And just to show you how scared shitless the Democrats are about losing this governorship to Republicans, to Glenn Youngkin of all people, a Trumper, they have rolled out Obama. Like, Obama is doing commercials for Terry McAuliffe, and I think he's actually supposed to come this weekend. He and Biden are going to be stumping across the state for Terry McAuliffe. So you know when they dust Obama off, somewhat they might be a little bit concerned about the seat, because niggas is like, okay, nigga, all right. But there's something I also wanted to share with you in regards to the Build Back Better plan, right? It looks like it's falling apart. And of course, I'm sure you guys already know this, and I'm sure it's been said by others, but let me say it once more. $3.5 trillion over 10 years ain't shit, right? That's $350 billion a year. Did I say 3.5 trillion over 10 years? Yes, it's $350 billion a year, right? That ain't shit. Especially in contrast to how much the United States spends on its military, which is $780 billion annually, okay? Which is more than twice of what's even being proposed in Build Back Better. By the way, I think the $3.5 trillion that Biden wants is already down to $2 trillion. So these niggas have already gave it up, right? Y'all have already given up the fucking ghost. You know why? Because y'all fucking suck. But what makes me so angry is that the Democrats are quibbling literally over pennies relative to the amount that is needed to actually bring America's infrastructure up to snuff. This country is falling apart, right? I know we have some folks joining us who are not in America. Let me explain to Stoner Loner and I think Ursula about. This is the shithole country. This is it. It is this. It is this. And let me give you an example. Of course, you guys remember when the hurricanes came through New Jersey and hit New York City, the way that the MTA, the New York Metro system, subway system was flooded, rendered inoperable in a lot of places. A lot of places flooded. Can you pop up B2? Whoa. Actually, B3. Let's go to B3 first, if you could, for me, sir. So here in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., there is the Metro system, right? Metro gets you a lot of places, not only just around the city, but obviously in surrounding suburbs in Maryland and Virginia. There is a lot of commuters, okay? We have among some of the worst traffic in the country here in the DC area. So people are very reliant on Metro and the public transit system here. But y'all, some fuckery happened. Okay, this is a tweet from Metro a few days ago, actually, because the system has been having all kinds of problems this week. There was a train derailment, maybe 10 days-ish ago, maybe 10 days or 2 weeks ago. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, and that's probably why, if you're not from the DMV area, you may not have even heard about this train derailment. But subsequently, what Metro found, and let me read this tweet to you, actually. So it says, alert, as part of the investigation into the Blue Line derailment, Metro is holding out of service all of its 7000 series rail cars, which is about 60% of its rail fleet. Without these rail cars, Metro will operate about 40 trains tomorrow, okay? And let me just tell y'all, it has been a shit show all week here in the DMV with Metro only operating like 40 cars. Like, they had to dust off some cars that they had taken out of commission in order to replace these new 7000 series cars that they had bought, which, by the way, when the train derailed, the NTSB investigation, the National Transportation and Safety Board investigation, found that fucking train had derailed 3 times that day. Like the fucking, the wheels had come off the track 3 times that day before the train finally derailed. And it was a shit show trying to get people out of the train, out the tunnels, right? They were talking about, elderly folks and disabled folks. Like the Metro did not have a wonderful system of offboarding these people to safety, which is shit that you need to consider, especially when you consider who takes public transit. So I point all this out to say, and by the way, all the non-safety with all the Metro rail cars, Metro itself knew about it. Employees knew about it. And Tunde, if you could queue up for me, B2, there's a reporter here in DC. His name is Adam Tuss. He reports on transportation for NBC Washington. And he spoke with the Metro employee who did not want to use their name or their face, but they said that they had been having problems with these new rail cars. Mind you, y'all, new rail cars, brand new rail cars. These rail cars are not even like 2 or 3 years old. Like they look like, space age shit. And them shits is terrible. Tune, run that clip for me real quick. So this is a Metro employee speaking to a reporter about the safety problems, regarding these 7,000 rail cars that Metro has recently purchased. Let's take a listen to that.
They took a gamble with people's lives, and God forbid this one wasn't what Metro workers feel like could have happened. Metro workers are so in fear of another catastrophic incident like the incident they had before, where the train operator actually lost her life.
Right. So about 10-ish or so years ago, there was an issue where the Metro train crashed, and the driver, the train operator, who was a Black woman, was trying to use the emergency stop. Like the investigation found that she was trying to stop the train, which was approaching a slower train on the same track, and the emergency brake failed, and the train crashed, and several people died, right? And people ain't forgot that, okay? Like people have died on this Metro trail, so on this Metro system. So I said all that to say, y'all, if this country, if this government is willing to let the public transit system in its capital be unsafe, right? Have shoddy investments in it, then whatever amount that Joe Biden has already proposed in terms of infrastructure funding is already too small. I swear to God, I think this country is literally going to fall down around us within the next 10 to 30 years. And like, we're going to be like, well, too bad something couldn't have been done about that. Anyway, how much? Okay. I'm gonna hit this last one real quick and real hard. Y'all be easy. It's so much. I gotta come back and look at the comments because y'all's in here getting it in. Before I leave you all for this Friday, first of all, I hope everybody has a good weekend. I have one more story to get to, so hold your britches up, hold your horses. It's coming. But yeah, guys, I still want everyone to please be safe out here in COVID. I'm still very much afraid of COVID. I know y'all got over COVID 7 months ago and y'all been out here at the club every weekend, but listen, please just be safe out here, safe as you possibly can, because COVID, it still very much look like it sucks, and vaccinated or not, I don't want to catch that shit. And that is basically the end on that. Guys, speaking of this weekend, here in DC, it is somewhat of a weekend of some cultural import. Dare I say some cultural significance, because it is Howard Homecoming weekend. Now, if you are of the Negro persuasion, you should know Howard Homecoming is infamous in DC annually as one of the signature events for Black folks in Chocolate City every single fall. People come from all over. Okay, they come down for HU. Traffic around Georgia Avenue, 7th Street, Florida Avenue, terrible. Okay, you're not gonna be able to drive nowhere. Even though I think Howard was encouraging alumni not to come en masse because obviously of the pandemic, but perhaps Howard was discouraging alumni for other reasons, because Howard right now is in the midst of, let's call it a student resistance. As we saw here on the program Tuesday, Howard students have taken over the Blackburn Auditorium on campus. They have posted a list of demands stemming from their, I would call, uninhabitable housing situations where Howard students have complained about mold in their dorm rooms. They have had to deal with water leaks. They have had to deal with water problems health problems surrounding the mold and the water leaks. And mind you, Howard, as a private institution located in the District of Columbia, is not cheap. Howard cost a lot of money. So the students are righteously protesting and resisting this. And their intention, I believe, is to at least provide somewhat of a distraction, if not an outright disruption, to the Howard homecoming festivities this weekend, starting tonight. Or whatever. Actually, all this shit has been starting all week. And one of the things that the administration has done is to, it's hard for me to get a beat on it, because it's like the administration is threatening these students with punitive actions surrounding their protests, but at the same time they're trying to talk nice to them. I can't really call it. But one person who has been covering this for several days has been our own Chuck Modiano. Not our own, but we fuck with Chuck. Chuck is a friend of the show. Justice journalists, independent journalists out here. Chuck is Johnny on the spot. Chucky on the spot. Chuck was on Howard's campus yesterday, which would have been day 10, I believe, of the Blackburn takeover. And he spoke with a Howard student who explained how the administration is playing games about these kids' academic future and their ability to remain students on this campus for simply doing what is fully within their rights, not only as students on the campus, not only as residents of District of Columbia, but as customers. God damn it. Like, Jesus Christ, what kind of customer service is this? You gonna put these children up in some shoddy ass housing and then gonna expect them to try to find off campus housing in DC for cheap? No. Impossible. But anyway, Chuck interviewed one of the people who have been participating in these protests, and this is what they had to say.
I volunteer, founder of the Live Movement, and one of the occupants in Blackburn Takeover. There are students that demand for their voices to be heard. Historically, not just Howard, but HBCU students across the nation have been disconnected from the administration and been ignored from the administration. They cry and cry and cry out for help, and the administration knows what they want, but they decide not to answer them. They continue to belittle them. They continue to treat them like nothing. And these students here at Howard, they pay, and their parents pay, an average of $48,000 a year. I think that if you pay that amount of money, your voice deserves to be heard.
And this evening you had some plans, but they were canceled. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So they are using every tactic possible to silence these students. They are literally saying, it doesn't matter what you are saying at all. It doesn't matter your demands. We are going to do everything to silence you. So we had a Blackburn homecoming, okay? So we are consciously boycotting Howard homecoming. Let us be very clear. We don't want it to happen, because how can you party? How can you have fun when there are students literally at Blackburn sacrificing their eligibility to be in this school, sacrificing so much just to make sure that their voices are heard? So with that being said, D9, we had an all call for them, and the Res Life, Campus Life, sent out an email and said that if any Howard D9 students came and performed at the protest, this protest, they would be expelled. Not only would they be expelled, but their chapter had it was a possibility for their chapter to also be taken away from them. No, they're counter-protesting. They're counter-attacking. They're Literally, our voices are trying to come out into the world, into the atmosphere. The administration just is saying, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. So literally, anyone in this community, someone though said, this is what Wayne Frederick is doing with his actions. He's literally saying, fuck them kids.
Okay.
That's what he's saying.
Wayne Frederick, by the way, the president of Howard University. I'd qualify this gentleman as a respectable Negro. I think he is a West Indian immigrant. I think he's a doctor, like a surgeon. Like Wayne Frederick is like big shit. He still practices, I believe, at Howard University Hospital, but he don't sound like he has the hearts and minds of the children on campus there. Certainly not that young lady. And just to be clear, for some of our non-Black American folks that we have in the building, when she was referring to D9, she's talking about the Divine Nine, the 9 historically Black fraternities and sororities, many of which, if not all of them, I believe, were founded at Howard University, on the campus of Howard University. So Howard University has threatened Black fraternities and sororities from participating in the Blackburn homecoming, which is the counter homecoming to the school's homecoming. And Tuna, if you could pop up that other one, is that C2? So when she talked about the administrator, or pardon me, when she said res life, the resident life people, overseers, administrators, sent out an email, and I just try to pull it up in a separate tab today, and it seems like they have deleted it. But do we have that graphic, the image of the awesome? Ooh, shit! I can't read that. Yeah, try to make it bigger. So basically, this email was sent out to Howard University students, everybody, and it was sent out, I believe, from the assistant director of resident life. And the email goes on to talk about how, hold on, let me see if I still have this. I'm sorry, y'all. Auntie needs reading glasses, apparently, because the things that are small don't come in well. It's a little frustrating. Is this what happens when you go north of 40? Everything else seems to go. It hasn't caught up on the stream yet. Hold on. Oh, they did delete it for real. Huh. I bet you the student got threatened. I don't know that for a fact. That's just my general assumption. Oh, there we go. Okay, now it's big. Okay, it says, greetings on behalf of Campus Life. Please note that Campus Life is aware of the, quote, Divine Nine Stroll Step performance organized by student protesters that is scheduled to take place during the what show? The actual show? During the step show, yes. As individuals, you all are welcome to support your student body in whatever way that you see fit. However, an organization participating in an unauthorized campus event does put your chapter at risk. Our office cannot protect or vouch for your organization's penalties, repercussions, persist with further action. Please be aware that consequences of being identified participating in the protest could result in its expulsion. So that's how Howard's going at the students, threatening to pull the chapters of the Black fraternities and sororities if they utilize their First Amendment rights to protest and to stand in solidarity with their student comrades who are there resisting the bad conditions that Howard is providing for students, and threatening to expel them. Now, that's mighty oppressorish, is it not? That is big colonizer energy. Y'all better accept this treatment. You better accept it with a smile and accept it silently and quietly, or else you will be met with action. So guys, Follow the hashtag Blackburn Takeover. Stand in solidarity with these young people, man, because again, like they are resisting a lot right now. You know, Howard has not helped the gentrification situation in that particular area of the district. And for them to just go out of their way to make things even more challenging for their students, to not have they shit together in advance of this semester even starting for their students, to even think that in any world it would be okay for a student paying tuition or for one who is not even paying tuition. Because I don't want to make this into, like, it is kind of a class thing, to keep it a buck, but whether or not your parents is paying $48,000 or not, and whether or not you a scholarship student, you ain't paying shit. That don't mean you have to live in mold, and you have to live with your belongings being fucked up, and you have to be subjected to bad air quality. No, fuck all that shit. Anyway, stand in solidarity with the kids, man. Hashtag Blackburn Takeover. Schultze 100. Thank you. Afra. And Stilly Steve, thank you. What's up, Patty? Thank you all so much for hanging out. And what's up, Pookie Wood? What's up, OG? Yes, sir. Thank y'all for staying for some overtime. There was some shit I wanted to get through, and I appreciate y'all hanging around. Don't forget, guys. Thank you for the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. On behalf of Tunde and Molly, you guys have a great weekend. And I already told y'all, COVID's still out here jumping on people. I don't want it to jump on you. So y'all act accordingly out here. See y'all later. Bye-bye.